today I wanted to talk about the endo diet. Yay! So for me, I started kind of changing my diet a number of years ago. And that was because just my health was off track. I suspected endometriosis. I still haven't had a lab to confirm it. But when I had a uterine biopsy during one of my more recent IVF cycles, they found cells indicative of endometriosis, and therefore I took everything a lot more seriously and said, okay, this is probably what's going on. I need to make these changes a bit more concretely in my life. So that's what I did. And I've been feeling substantially better, which is amazing. So the first thing that I did was I eliminated dairy, 100%. And that one was a bit easier for me just because I have had lactose intolerance my whole life. And recently found out that I also have a dairy allergy, and so kind of was a no-brainer, I guess. I have pretty severe reactions to it. That's not necessarily typical among those with endo. However, you know, when I was feeling so crummy after having any kind of level of dairy, it's pretty obvious that I need to cut it out. So I cut it out. And then I moved on to wheat. Wheat is something that I have yo-yoed with in the past. I eliminated it, had a bit, eliminated it, had tiny bits, and then eventually I committed to having no wheat. That for me, I think, was the biggest wake-up call. My fatigue and my pain when I eliminated wheat seemed to have the biggest drastic change at that point in time. And it's not easy. I mean, I'm sure that if you're dealing with endo and you're dealing with the pain and all the symptoms, that you might have heard it thrown out that wheat or gluten are things that you need to try and eliminate. And I know that a lot of you are kind of like, well, is it really worth it? Or it seems so hard, or I really love my bread. And I get it. I mean, trust me, I get it. I've been there, I've struggled through it. I can say on the other side, though, that looking back, I wish I had done it sooner. And it isn't something that is easy to do because it doesn't give you an immediate positive effect. So for me, with dairy, if I don't have it, I feel good. When I have it, I feel crummy, and it's almost instantaneous. With wheat, however, you eliminated it, and it takes almost a full month for it to really get out of your system. So that's a month of feeling like crummy while you're doing all the right things and you're feeling like so unmotivated to continue because you're doing all this work and you've got nothing to show for it. So that's really hard, and then a month goes by and you feel a little bit better, but not substantially, just a little bit better. The biggest change, I'd say, happens once you hit like the 3-month mark. That's when I personally was like, okay, no, I really feel better. I have a lot more energy. My pain's decreased. That's when I kind of was like, oh, like this is a game changer for me. I also have dealt with painful intercourse. All of a sudden, don't really have that anymore. So it seems like all of the inflammation in my system has calmed down because of the changes that I made. And those two changes in particular were two that I have done for the longest period of time, and I firmly believe have made this most significant impact for myself. Along with dairy, I also eliminated eggs, and recently I have also eliminated red meat. I also eliminated pork, but that's for animal stuff, reasoning, whatever, and I'm trying to eliminate poultry, but for now I'm still having poultry. Fish I have no problem with. I love fish. I'll continue to have fish. So in terms of protein, you know, right now I have poultry and fish, and I'm trying to find alternative sources of that as well. I have a vegan protein powder that I make shakes with, so that's sort of my go-to. On top of that, I also have eliminated alcohol and sugar. So I used to have a wine club, believe it or not, and I would be curled up on the floor in severe pain, drenched in sweats, crying. It was so painful. I'd have to leave parties early, all the rest of it. It wasn't because I was drinking too much or anything like that. It was simply because I was having a flare-up as a result of, I believe, the tannins in red wine. So, I mean, I could have drank other things. I mean, obviously I can't have beer because it has wheat. But, you know, there's alternatives, but you want to be careful that, you know, you're not having rum and Coke, because guess what? Coke is really, really high in sugar, and it also has caffeine, both of which you shouldn't be having if you have endometriosis. So for me, it was just easier to say, you know what, I'm going to cut out alcohol entirely. Guess what? I don't have any more hangovers. So there you go, win-win. The sugar one is a bit more difficult. There's sugar in everything. I mean, I don't know, we have an obsession with sugar here in the US for some reason, but you gotta really watch your ingredients. I mean, if you're eating whole foods and you're eating fresh, organic, all the rest of it, it's not really so much of an issue, but there are fruits that you want to try to, like mangoes are really, really high in sugar. So you want to just watch, things like raspberries, blackberries, strawberries are much better, even blueberries are great. So just kind of be aware, pick and choose, just do a little bit of research on which foods are still safe for you. In terms of the caffeine, I'm not the best. I did cut out coffee, but I am still drinking my matcha green tea lattes. However, I get by in my head with the matcha green tea lattes because I say, hey, okay, so for one, it's made with almond milk. And two, matcha is thought to be an anti-inflammatory or an antioxidant. I can't remember which, but it doesn't matter. It's one of those. And therefore, it's okay for me to have it. Even though it has caffeine. So green tea is a slow release caffeine as opposed to like coffee, which is an instantaneous, like harsh flood of the caffeine in your system. So I have found that teas don't affect me as badly as coffee. If I have coffee, I have severe cramping followed by it. So that was easy for me to kind of like watch when I was looking at all these things in my life and what correlated to the pain. It was like, okay, coffee, immediately I feel sick. So I switched over to tea, and I don't really have any issues on it. It does help keep me regular because I have problems with that. So for now, I'm keeping it in my system. When I'm starting up with my frozen embryo transfer that's coming up, I think I'm going to have to wean off of it. But I am a bit nervous because, as I said, it does keep me regular, and I love it. So it keeps me happy. I don't know, we have to have something in our life. Anyways, so just know that caffeine, sugar, alcohol, all sort of things that you want to at least cut back on, if not eliminate entirely. Soy is another big one. Soy is estrogenic, and estrogen feeds endometriosis. So if you're going off dairy, really try not to use soy milk as an alternative. Really look for almond milk or coconut milk or rice milk instead. Those are going to be a much better option for you. But soy, unfortunately, is in a lot of different ingredients. You'll be shocked if you start looking at ingredient lists, you'll find soy in so many different things. So just be aware of it. Just know, teriyaki sauce has soy in it. Don't have some teriyaki sauce maybe, or make your own and find your own little recipe and make it at home. So soy is a big one though, so watch out for that. The other thing is the preservatives and additives. So in order for things to have a long shelf life, they add all these things into them that aren't really good for you. The big indicator is if you can't pronounce it, it's probably not natural, and you probably don't want to be putting it into your system. Our systems seem to be ultra sensitive to these kinds of things, and so it's something that we have to be aware of. And if you can eat organic and you can eat fresh foods, you're going to be a lot better off. So for me, I mostly focus on getting a lot of veggies. I love things like spaghetti squash. I do that instead of pasta. And I love my spiralizer. I'll spiralize zucchini noodles. And there's so many other things that you can do and so many recipes out there. One of my absolute favorite comfort foods is a vegan mac and cheese. I might have to do a video on that. I'm obsessed with this vegan mac and cheese. And I mean, you can't really call it cheese, but it's made with vegetables, and the sauce is super creamy, and I make gluten-free pasta as a treat every now and again. It's so good. But yeah, anyhow, I'm getting off topic. That's sort of what I've done, and it's made a huge, huge impact on my life. Night and day difference from how I used to feel. I don't have any pain anymore. I'm not on any painkillers. I very rarely get bloated. My stomach, I used to, the endo bloat. If you have endometriosis, you are well aware of the endo bloat. And my stomach is like flat now. It used to look like I was chronically pregnant, and it's just completely flat. And that's shocking to me because my whole life I've had this sort of like fluctuating bloated belly. So to see it flat and have no bloat is like, it's kind of a little weird, but it's also really nice. So it feels good and it's well worth it. I know that it's hard if you're out there and you're wondering, is it worth it? It is. It's hard. It's not easy. It takes time. It takes commitment. But I promise you in the end, you'll be happy you did it. And like I said, if I could go back, I would have done it a lot sooner and lived many years without the pain that I had to endure. So good luck to you. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you want to see me do any videos in particular or you have any requests, also you can put those in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, show me all the love. I'll show it back. And I'll be talking and seeing you guys soon. Bye!